So just as Israel's finally making headway in the final stages of their campaign against Hamas by conquering Gaza City, I don't know whether you've been getting this, but I've been getting news alerts from BBC and others saying that the IPC, the UN's agency, are warning that there is a famine. They are declaring a famine now in Gaza City. Just as Israel's about to make those final stages to bring Hamas to its knees, suddenly they tell us that there's a famine. I don't know about you, but just hearing that immediately with the timeline of events made me a little bit skeptical, especially as just a few months ago, the UN head, Tom Fletcher, said that Gaza was 48 hours away from mass starvation. That turned out to be a lie. So I looked into it a little bit more, and it turned out that, lo and behold, the very person making the announcement is UN Emergency Coordinator Tom Fletcher today, saying people should read this new report. Have a watch of his words.
Cover to cover. Read it in sorrow and in anger.
He's saying people should read it cover to cover in sorrow and in anger. Look at that great righteous indignation from him. So it turns out, with a little bit of digging, surprise, surprise, Israel's foreign ministry have just announced that the IPC, their publication, is a tailor-made fabrication reported to fit Hamas's fake campaign. It's all over the news. They're calling it a despicable Gaza famine assessment based on Hamas's lies. Right? This is the front page of Times of Israel. The IPC published a tailor-made fabricated report to fit Hamas's fake campaign. Unbelievably, the IPC twisted its own rules and ignored its own criteria just to produce false accusations against Israel. The IPC changed its own global standard, cutting the 30% threshold to 15% for this report only, totally ignoring its second criterion of death rate solely to serve Hamas's fake campaign. The entire IPC document is based on Hamas's lies, laundered through organizations with vested interests. There is no famine in Gaza. Over 100,000 trucks of aid have entered Gaza since the start of the war, and in recent weeks a massive influx of aid has flooded the strip with staple foods and caused a sharp decline in food prices, which have plummeted in the markets. The laws of supply and demand don't lie, but the IPC does. Every forecast the IPC has made regarding Gaza during the war has proven baseless and completely false. This assessment too will be thrown into the despicable trash bin of political documents. This is incredibly strong language from Israel. And by the way, I would just like to clarify with you that even if there's all kinds of humanitarian crisis happening in Gaza, the fault would still lie entirely with Hamas. Entirely. I came across a fascinating case in British law in the 1980s where a criminal held his girlfriend hostage. The police killed the girlfriend because he was using the girlfriend as a human shield, and they accidentally killed the girlfriend while trying to kill this or neutralize this criminal. And the police were not held accountable because the court understood that this was, the accountability lied with the person using the human shield here, which is what Hamas are doing with their people, what Hamas are doing by starting a war against Israel and then using them as human shields rather than fighting them away from their civilians. So the point is, even if there were, that's one thing, even if there were great civilian crises, that even then you need to have the moral clarity there. But here it looks like there's actual intentional lying. Why is it happening? It's very simple. Very, very simple, because Israel is on the cusp of winning. They're going into Gaza City. They're saying, we're not going to negotiate anymore with Hamas. We're going to bring Hamas to their knees. Peace through strength. So, of course, the UN and other elements hostile to Israel are panicking because they know it's all over for them. It's all over for UNRWA once Israel flushes out Hamas from Gaza. So this is just utterly, utterly remarkable, isn't it? And it shows you what's really going on. One thing I've noticed in our times is though the evils become more stark, also so are the lies. They become clearer and more easy to spot. So keep your eyes wide, wide open, and there you will be unable to avoid seeing the truth as it really is. Before we wrap up, I want to share something important with you. The entire anti-Israel movement is built on one central accusation: that in 1948 Israel stole the land, and ever since Palestinians have simply been resisting. But what if everything we've been told about this story is untrue? What if the real history of 1948 shows not Arabs being forced out, but Jews, while seeking peace, having to fight for their survival against a genocidal enemy that willed its destruction long before Israel's re-establishment? Have a watch of the trailer for our new, groundbreaking and essential documentary entitled What Really Happened in 1948. And if you want to see the full film, just click the link in the video description. In 1948, the world witnessed the rebirth of the Jewish state, the State of Israel. A moment celebrated as a miracle of survival and self-determination after centuries of persecution and the horrors of the Holocaust. Yet for decades, this event has been twisted into a narrative of theft and catastrophe, with the so-called Nakba portrayed as Israel's original sin, where Jews allegedly stole Arab land and displaced innocents in a premeditated act of ethnic cleansing. But what if this story is fundamentally inverted? What if the cause and effect are the other way around? Not Israel aggressively seizing territory and Arabs responding in self-defense, but Arabs, driven by deep-seated hatred, rejecting the Jews' legal and historical rights to live in their ancestral homeland and waging a genocidal war long before Israel's re-establishment. In this JTV Plus documentary, we're going to uncover the unvarnished truth about 1948, the centuries of pogroms and anti-Semitic violence that set the stage, the Arab leaders' explicit calls for extermination, and the defensive war Israel fought to secure its existence. We'll challenge the pervasive lies head-on, showing how Arab rejection of peace wasn't about creating a Palestinian state, but about denying Jews the right to live at all. From the Nazi-allied leader of the Arabs in Palestine, the Mufti al-Husseini, to the forgotten occupations by Jordan and Egypt, when no Palestinian state was even considered, this is the story of a conflict rooted not in displacement, but in whether the Jews deserve to live in their homeland. Join us as we debunk the myths with facts, confront the historical record fairly but firmly, and reveal why 1948 was not an act of aggression, but a righteous response to annihilation. This is what really happened in 1948. To watch this JTV Plus documentary and access much more premium content, click on the link in the video description.